With the Combine finishing up this past weekend, it's time to take a look at the Tar Heel prospects for the NFL this coming year and just where they stand with NFL draft analyst Daniel Parlegreco. Yeah, so just looking at this draft, man, we've got some intriguing prospects, for sure. Got to start with probably the guy that most people are talking about, which is going to be MJ Stewart. You saw him at the Combine. He looked pretty good, and same thing at the Senior Bowl. What did you think of him, and where do you think his stock stands right now?
Yeah, I think MJ Stewart's a really good player, probably one of the best from North Carolina. I think the problem with MJ Stewart is the fact that there's so much depth at the cornerback position in the draft this year. So what it's going to take is a team to fall in love with him, which is very much possible because he's a very, very versatile player. He obviously has shown experience playing in the slot down there in North Carolina, as well as playing on the outside. Really good cover guy, shows the ability to mirror receivers, stay on them, not leaving their hip pocket. A very smooth athlete. Can play press man, can play in a zonal-based scheme. Just a really talented kid, durable. He showed his size, obviously, at the Combine. Shows that he can play both not only as a nickel corner, but he can also play on the outside as well.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing I've been seeing, and a lot of the guys I know that I've read the articles on when it comes to MJ. They're saying he's pretty much just a nickel corner. Do you think that right now NFL teams are really just looking at him as a nickel corner, or do you think that they could be looking at him as a flexible enough option to be able to play outside if he has to? Yeah,
I think he can. I think before the Combine, obviously there were some concerns about the size, but I think the fact that he showed his size, that he's around 200 pounds, he's got enough muscle, he's a compactly built guy. He can play both on the outside and on the inside, and he's a physical player. He shows the traits that he can play on the outside and compete with bigger receivers at the next level.
Yeah, so and just last thing on him, right now, where do you think his stock sits going into his pro day? Around what round do you think he's probably going to be taken?
I think, if for my guess, he's going to be somewhere late day 2. So I have him as a third-round guy right now, and it really has nothing to do with the fact that he's not as good as some of the other guys. It's really, when it comes to these corners, it's flavors. What you like, what you're looking for. They're so close. These guys, as far as where they're ranked. So I have him as a late day 2 guy.
Yeah, Daniel Parlegreco, senior NFL writer here, talking about the Tar Heel draft prospects. So, another guy that was at the Combine, he ends up actually pulling up on his first 40, was Andre Smith. I know I was excited to see him. Were you a little bit excited to see what he could bring to the table, especially considering the injury that happened to him earlier this year on the field against Louisville?
Yeah, obviously he only played in 2 games this year for the Tar Heels, so I was kind of surprised to see him work out. I think that showed that he wanted to compete, so I think that probably, from that facet, he probably impressed scouts and personnel guys at the Combine. He's a tough kid, he's going to be a day 1 player on special teams. The question with him, as we all know, is injuries. Can he stay healthy? Is he going to be ready? Is he going to be ready for training camp? What position does he play? He's not really a schematically versatile guy, a smaller guy, doesn't have great length. He's probably going to be best suited for a 3-4 defense due to his size, playing as an inside guy on a 3-4. But he can be an immediate special teams guy, that can play on all units on special teams. Really physical guy. A guy like him, you take a chance on, because he can absolutely outplay his draft stock. He can be I would think a 6th or 7th round guy, but he could play better than that and eventually be a starter.
Yeah, so that was something I was going to ask you. His upside. Where exactly do you see it? I mean, right now I kind of see him as he's got a chance to be one of those depth type players. But I mean, you talked about it. What do you think? Definitely on special teams. What do you think is so attractive about him on special teams? Is it his tackling ability, or what exactly is it?
Yeah, physical guy. Love the physical parts of the game. Special teams, you want a guy that leaves nothing on the field, not afraid to take on guys. You need those guys in your special teams units that will be those guys that are going to eat up blocks, to open up things for the gunners, to open up things for the speedier guys on the outsides. And Andre Smith, he can take on blocks. He'll fight through them, and he's got those powerful arms, those powerful hands that he can make an impact. And I think he's going to be a force, and I think he's a guy that you can draft that's also going to be possibly a game day player. We oftentimes talk about the 53-man roster, but is he going to be one of the guys, the 46 guys that's called up on game day? And because of his special teams ability, that's going to make him an attractive candidate because of his physical nature.
Yeah, I mean, he decided to leave early. Do you think right now that was the right move for him?
It's so hard to say. Based on his injury, I probably, if I were him, not knowing all the details, obviously, of his personal life and things of the such, but I probably would have stayed another year, just because of the fact that he only played 2 games this year. He had an opportunity to have the full off season to recover, show NFL evaluators that he can come back and have a strong senior season, which I think could have upped his value because I think he's got a lot of potential.
Talking with Daniel Parlegreco, senior NFL draft writer. So, those were the guys that were at the Combine. One that I thought was kind of weird that he didn't get an invite. I really thought he would be a good fit at the Combine and have a chance to actually get to show what he's got. I thought was Austin Prohl. To me, I thought he should have been there. Did you think that he deserved a Combine invite?
Yeah, I think so. I think he did. Similarly to what we talked about with MJ Stewart, wide receivers and cornerbacks, there's so many every year that get drafted. I believe they're the 2 positions that get drafted more than any other position. So there's just so much depth. I think Prohl has been a really, really good player for North Carolina. I think obviously the injury didn't help him. He didn't really get a chance to show he had the talent, but when he had the opportunities, obviously there's so many receivers on the North Carolina depth chart the last few seasons, and when he finally gets the opportunity to really showcase his ability, he gets injured. So I think he really has had kind of a case of bad luck, this past year. But he's a talented guy. He's a really, really good route runner, footwork. He can create for himself. Really good hands. The question with him is going to be obviously not an overly explosive guy. He might be limited to a slot player at the next level, even though he didn't really play much in the slot. So he doesn't have that experience of really playing a lot in the slot for the Tar Heels. But due to his size, I think a lot of NFL evaluators are going to say, okay, he's a slot player, but he doesn't really have a lot of experience playing in that role in college. So I think all those things hurt him, but I think he's another guy that can really impress in training camp for a team.
Yeah, he's a guy to me. I think he's probably going to be a better NFL player than he was a college player. With the chance that he might get. He seems like a scheme fit guy. Where do you think? Are there any teams that really would come to mind that might stand out as to where he would fit?
Well, obviously, the obvious comparison of a team that would take him would be like a team like the Patriots that can use these smaller, shiftier, versatile guys that can play a role on the offense. But like I mentioned, there's a handful of these guys in this draft that are both running backs and also slot type of wide receivers that can play out of the backfield too. So the question is going to be Austin Prohl better than the next guy? Is he better than this guy? Is he better than that guy? So that's what teams are going to have to figure out. I think he has a role, and I think he's going to have to really impress. He's going to be one of those guys that, like you mentioned, he could absolutely be a better NFL player than college, but he's going to have to show it in training camp to earn a roster spot for a team, because I think he's looking at a day 3 selection, a late day 3 selection. He might even be an undrafted free agent, so he's going to have to really showcase in camp for a team.
Last thing on him, do you think with his dad being Ricky Prohl, you think that helps him out at all?
You want to say no, but we've seen in the past it does make a difference when you have those bloodlines. Teams look at that. This is a guy that obviously is a hard worker. He's got good bloodlines. Teams that know his father, knows the kind of player he was, how seriously he took his craft. So it could help him when it comes to a really close report, when it comes to two guys that have almost identical scouting reports or scouting grades, that could give him the edge. But it shouldn't make a huge difference.
Talking with Daniel Parlegreco, senior NFL draft writer, author of his DTP draft guide. Just a couple of more guys here in this class. Donnie Miles, healing from an arm injury. Just really quickly, you think any chance anyone in it really takes a risk on him?
Yes, I do actually. He's had two really good years. Over 100 tackles, 2 separate years. The question is going to be, what's his position to kind of play the hybrid linebacker safety role for the Tar Heels? Doesn't obviously have the size of a linebacker, but he doesn't really have the movement skills of a safety. So that's going to be the problem with him. And he's only had one career interception. He's played 40 games in his career, and he has one career interception despite playing on almost every snap for the Tar Heels. So. But he's a physical guy, and he's always around the ball. He makes a ton of tackles. So it's just about finding a role for him. Is he a downhill box safety type of guy where he can quickly diagnose and make tackles close to the line of scrimmage? That's possible. So I think he's going to be an undrafted free agent, and I think he has a shot, similarly to a couple of the other ones that we mentioned, that is going to have to show his worth in camp.
Yeah, and then the one guy that I noticed just through reading your guide, which is awesome, man, by the way. That was sensational. What a great read. Is Bentley Spain. You're really high on him. This is a guy that, I've seen some of the other guys that are really the draft analysts, as they say. They don't even have him remotely on their boards. What is the thing that you like so much about Bentley, and what do you think will he be able to translate that to the NFL?
Yeah, I think Spain. He's a good player. He's got a lot of experience, a high football IQ, good character. He understands the game of football. While he isn't, he's absolutely he's going to need a lot of time. He's going to need. You can look at him and you think, okay, he doesn't have great functional strength, nor does he have elite foot quickness. He's played left tackle for the Tar Heels. He's not a left tackle at the next level, but he's got the size, he's got the intelligence, he understands how to play in space, he understands how to use his hands. He's a smart guy that I think could impress. He's going to need some time to develop. He's a guy that a team might want to take a chance on because of his size, because of some of his traits, how he plays and how he understands the game of football, where he's more advanced than a lot of these guys are going to go a lot higher than him. But the things that he needs to improve on, with the right strength and conditioning staff, with a team that's willing to give him some time, continuing to get him stronger, develop his base a little bit more. I think he could be a swing tackle at the next level, developmental guy, and a guy with his size is pretty rare. There's not that many guys in this class that have his combination of size and length. So, those type of guys don't stick around too long. So I think he's going to go somewhere in this draft. The question is how high.
Yeah, I remember seeing him. He's faced some of the tougher guys out there. I remember when he was younger. I think it was his redshirt freshman year. He faced Jadeveon Clowney. A couple of years ago when we played against Florida State, he really held his own. So yeah, I'm with you. I think there's definitely something there, and teams will not regret giving him a shot at least. And anybody else in this class that you're really keeping an eye on? I know there's a few other guys. The one guy that I think might get an invite would be Cason Collins, just based on what he did this year. But is there anybody else that maybe you're seeing, or that's pretty much it?
It's so hard because I review. This year I did the most ever. I did over 300 guys. I didn't watch any more Tar Heels players, so it's hard for me to say. Those are the main guys that were on my radar that I was informed they're probably draft eligible guys. The guys are going to get drafted. So those are the only guys I've watched for this year. When it comes to next year, obviously there's some guys. A guy that stood out to me on tape a little bit is Malik Carney, a guy that's, had 2 really solid years of production for the Tar Heels, got good size, length. He's going to be a guy that's going to, is going to be on the watch list for this year as far as how he does. Can he produce another good season? Can he have a higher sack season than 5.5 sacks that he has the last 2 years? Right. So he's a guy that could work his way up to the day two area for next season. He's kind of one of my favorites in the 2019 class to watch.
Yeah, any concern when it comes to him about his size? That's one thing that I think, will probably be a little concerning.
Yeah, well, he's what is he, like 6'3", 230, somewhere around there?
Right, yeah, he's right around that size, yeah.
So it's going to be, can he be a 3-4 outside linebacker? Maybe he doesn't have size to put his hand on the ground at the next level, but can he be a stand-up guy and drop a little bit in coverage and also rush the passer and sub packages and clear passing situations? So I think if he can show that this year, continue to show he can get after the quarterback, take on blocks, I think he's going to be an attractive guy to watch this year.
Yeah, Daniel Parlegreco, senior NFL draft writer. Hey, just the draft guide, man. I read it, and that was some awesome stuff, man. So just just talk a little bit about how you got into it. It's a little bit different than some of these other major draft guys,
Yeah. So what happened is I wrote on some forums, kind of sports forums, teams I liked, and I noticed that a lot of guys would almost believe some of the draft experts, whether it be Nick Shea or Mel Kiper or any of these guys, and they would basically believe anything they said rather than actually do the work themselves and say, I'm going to have an opinion of my own. So I kind of was, rather than just go off of what they said about particular players, I wanted to watch some of the top guys just to see what I thought, if I agreed with what they thought. And I found out really quickly that, hey, I don't agree. After watching the game tapes of these guys, I don't agree with some of their thoughts on these guys. I think these guys are better than they're giving them credit for. Or I think these guys are way overhyped and not as good as they're giving them credit for. So I started doing that in the first couple of years. I did a handful of guys, mostly the first-round guys I'd watch, and I would write a little analysis on them and put it on the forums. And I started developing a little bit of a following from the forums, and people were really, really liking it, liked my insight, liked what I was doing. And so about 3 years ago, I started putting it all down in a guide, and I think I did 150 guys the first year, so this was 3 years ago, and I put it on Amazon, I put it on the guide, and I ended up selling hundreds and hundreds of copies, and I was quite kind of surprised about it. The next year after that, I did over 250 guys, and it grew a little bit more and a lot more readers. And then this year I did over 300 guys, so it was the most. And so really I've just kind of focused on building through Twitter, selling my draft guide on Amazon, and that's really it. Just talking to people like yourself, other knowledgeable draft people like college football, but also like the whole draft process.
Yeah, man. I mean, the draft process is definitely something, and that's awesome to have a guy like you that, sort of takes the fan perspective from it, not these guys that, do, apparently all this research and everything like you. And I agree. I mean, a lot of people definitely go by, they are going by, well, Matt Miller said this, or, another one that's coming up is John Ledyard. I mean, they're great guys. They do a great job, but I agree, having a fan's perspective is a little bit different. One thing that I noticed when I was reading it, definitely something, you said that you are unbiased. So you're telling me that you are not a fan of any college football team. You do not, wear the gear on game day.
No, actually I don't. I'm more of a, kind of a surprise, but I'm more of an NFL fan than a college fan. I'll watch more of the big games, college football. I usually root for the underdog. I don't have a team that I like. My brother-in-law is a huge Florida Gators fan. So when he's around, I'll watch some of the games with him. But for the most part, I watch college football just to get draft analysis. I watch I try not to watch the games when they're on and look at individual players, but I'll go back and watch all the games. And I start my analysis usually like in November. So I'll start going back and watching all the tapes and writing notes on all the guys. So no, I never really started liking a team. And at this point, it's kind of like I don't want to like a team because I feel like it would cloud my judgment, because I know how it does that with my NFL team and with with all my other teams. It clouds your judgment. You're too partial.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's awesome. So, tell them where they can buy the draft guide at and where they can follow you on Twitter, man.
Okay, so Twitter, DTP Draft Scout is my handle, my Twitter handle, and my guide is on Amazon. Just type in 2018 NFL Draft Guide. You'll see DTP's NFL Draft Guide, D as in Daniel, T as in Timothy, P as in Parlegreco, my initials, and you'll see it right there. There's a hard copy as well as a digital copy, and I would recommend the hard copy. It came out really, really awesome this year. It's a professional formatted magazine type of look to it, and it's absolutely worth the buy.
Yeah, definitely. Great stuff. You guys, if you got a chance, if you got something laying around, man, just, throw a little money that way, and you're not going to regret it, man. So, hey, thank you very much, man, and we'll definitely have to have you on again before the draft.
Thank you so much. Good looking forward to talking again.
All right, man.